Hi everyone, Vickieverlie here, Rock and Roll Prophetess. Thanks for tuning in for the full moon in Aquarius reading. This is occurring at July 23rd, 10:37 p.m. Eastern, but times will vary. So this is the full moon in Aquarius, and you know, I don't know if I would count it conjunct the Saturn. It looks like it's right with the Saturn, but there's actually a 9-degree orb. But it's going to be in that Saturn vibe even later in the day. So it's opposing, of course, the Sun in Leo at 1 degree, and we've got 1 degree up here. When we have these 1 degrees and we've got Jupiter at 0, these are, even though it's a full moon, it is very much a time of initiation. It's a time of new beginnings. It's a time of turning a corner is what the guides are coming through with. So the corners will be turned here. We've got Saturn involved with a whole bunch of things here. We've got it trying the North Node. I thought it was a Grand Trine. There's something going on with the Grand Trine. Maybe it's the, And then the South Node and Chiron and loosely with the Sun. So there's this air and fire energy definitely going on. So it's thoughts and actions. We want to think and we want to act. What's interesting to me is the big things that are making a lot of aspects here are Saturn, Chiron, and the nodes. So those are all very much karmic things. Those are aspects or placements that show higher forces that are at work. When I do those soul readings, those are some of the 3 big things that I do look at. Chiron, Saturn, and your nodes. And then I tune in psychically to kind of tune into your past life and your soul mission. So when these kind of things are getting ticked off and activated in these transits and these new and full moons and eclipses and different things, these are at their best, they're opportunities. We can look at them as opportunities to align with our highest soul purpose, to realign with our highest soul purpose, to come back in line with what we're actually doing here on a soul level. If you're, because Chiron and Saturn can be kind of tough, so if you're experiencing frustration, if you're banging your head against the wall and you're not able to make it happen, whatever you're trying to make happen here, that's them giving you the pushback, and they're trying to realign. I always use this little example with the pens here. So this is your true north, or your true your north node, or your true north, and then your south node. So north node's where you're going, or you're meant to go, your life plan, and the south node is where you've been. And then we all do this. We all just veer off a little bit. Nobody stays completely on their soul path their whole time. Life happens, right? So we veer off, and then the longer you go on this alternative timeline or this alternative pathway, the wider and wider that the gap gets. So when we have these aspects with the Saturn and the nodes, this is an opportunity to snap back into place, to turn things around, to get realigned with your true north. And because this is a full moon, the full moon always brings awareness. It always shines a light, shows us maybe the error in our ways, but it's not about really being punishing or anything like that. The Aquarian energy also is of a very much higher vibration. So this is a time to see things from a higher perspective. It's not about, it's also like the wider view of humanity. It's the, what's good for all. What's for the highest good of everyone, for all. Thinking about it from, not just about me and what I want, Chiron and Aries, and then Leo, it's all a party, let's have fun, which is good. The guides have been coming through with this, partying and that is because that raises vibration. And any way you can raise vibration, and Leo is all about, the Sun is in Leo, that's what, if you're not familiar, that's why I'm bringing that up. So the Sun in Leo, that is a time of, having celebrations, being happy. And being happy and laughter and elevating vibration is good. You don't have to, think of it in a real spiritual way. You just have to think of it, it doesn't have to be this solemn practice or this big ceremonious thing. It can be. Absolutely it can be, and there's nothing wrong with that. And many people do some sort of ceremony, so to speak, or rituals on these new and full moons. And I'm not knocking that. But in general, to raise vibration it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like a very serious thing, especially with Leo energy being involved. It definitely doesn't have to be a serious thing, because Leos don't take much, they don't let much get under their skin or take too much, they're not, they got over themselves, So sometimes somebody's real serious, so they get over yourself. So Leos are over it, they want to have fun, they want to have a laugh, they want to be with friends. So there's that energy, but that also, you're not neglecting your spiritual practices by doing so. A matter of fact, that you're probably enhancing them, as that energy elevates your spirit, elevates joy, laughter, brings things into this higher vibration, which is what, we're really trying for, and what we're really, what's a big theme that's happening right now on the planet. So the Aquarian thing too, it's like having these big aha moments. The full moon is too. And speaking of rituals, this is always a good time to release things. The full moon is a great time to release things. But I feel like because we're dealing with the Aquarian energy, that it's like releasing things, having an awareness. It could be things that you're not even aware of, And many times it is, especially when we're pounding away. Why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? Why don't they love me? Why doesn't this why don't I get that job? Why? Well, because the universe obviously has something else in store for you. And when your higher self or your guardian angels, you could call it whatever you want, but there's a higher purpose going on here. And the higher purpose, you're not, if this is what you're experiencing, then you're not in line with the higher purpose. That it's just really that simple. And I know that can be really heartbreaking at times, and it can be really, sometimes people don't want to hear that, but the sooner, that's what this Aquarius moon could really aid in doing, the sooner that you kind of realize that, it's like, well, maybe what I'm doing, how's that working out for me? How's that working out for me? And it's not necessarily anything that has to be solved or resolved, this minute. With that Leo energy is like, well, just take a break. Let's just take a break. We can put that on the back burner, and let's just go out and have some fun. Especially in the U.S., the pandemic restrictions are lifting, and we can do outdoor activities with people again. So, let's do that. Let's go to those picnics and barbecues and festivals and, different things. Let's be outside. Let's have that fun. Because that does elevate energy, and that does take your mind off your troubles, or what's ailing you, or what you're pushing for, or what you're trying to do. That relieves the energy, that takes the mind off of it, and allows, if you're staring at something and working on it, pounding your head, or just working, there's all sorts of possibilities just floating around everywhere around here. So say this is you pounding away, well, how can I do things differently? I'm going to watch 500 YouTube videos and find out how to do, find out the solutions and how they're doing that. That's the answer. Well, one of the things that they said to me just the other day in the channeling was, it was within, and always within. The answers always come from within. So, but you got to give it a break. You got to give it a little break. Go out, have some fun. Get away from it. Get away from it for a little while. Sleep on it. This is a thing. We all know this. When you have a problem or something, well, let me sleep on it. Because then you wake up in the morning with a fresh perspective. This is a full moon, but we have such low degrees, so that could be the fresh perspective, the new beginning. But full moons are usually these big aha culminations, as I said before. So sometimes it's just the aha of, well, I see what I've been doing wrong, or not wrong, but I see how I'm fighting it. It's not a time to fight. It's never a time to fight it. It's always a time. And I know it's such a cliche, but go with the flow. That's a thing. That's a real thing. The universe is always trying to show you the way, guide you to your highest purpose, and it's not always about what you think you want. Because very often, if there's something that, and people will manifest things that they really want. You don't have to go along with your node and your life plan. Again, hardly anybody goes along with it exactly, but you get down here. We have free will. You don't have to go. You don't have to go along with it at all. You can. You have free will to do whatever you want. But often, it's like empty victories. You hear people say, like, when they wanted to be rich or whatever they were striving for, and then they got there and realized, it just wasn't, it didn't feel that in them, whatever was, whatever that thing was, that they just didn't fulfill that. It just didn't, that wasn't the solution, because possibly that wasn't really their life's purpose or their life plan, so now this is the way that we can. And the thing is, it's like, well, I don't want, you think that if you don't get the thing you want, then you're going to be miserable, or it's not going to be good, or whatever, but it's probably better than you ever could have imagined. That's the thing. That's the thing we don't realize, especially when we're really fighting, and we're really going after things, and we want it, and we're trying to think of a plan, or how can we do it, and then there's so many possibilities floating around. And that's the energy of Aquarius, where the full moon is. It's those ethers. It's the symbol of it. I mean, just look at the symbol. It says it all to me. That's what's going on. It's just like things flying around in the air, electrical currents, it's electric. There's electricity. There's, there's things floating around. And we get so bogged down and busy in our regular everyday life that we don't hear them. We don't see them. We see instead what we're bombarded with, and in entertainment and on social media, and this person has this, and oh, I want that, because but maybe that's just not for you. We all have our, we're gonna all have this little light that's gonna shine, and that's again kind of a cliche, but when you find that, that's everything. When you find that thing that makes your heart sing, because Leo's energy is involved in this. This is heart energy. So what you love, who you love, what lights you up, what brings you joy, happiness, that's your navigation system. That's the universe guiding you. I would venture to say that, well, maybe Sagittarius, but even Aquarius might even rule like GPS. When I said navigation system, I thought of like GPS. So having aha moments, being aware. And because Aquarius energy is, the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, 11th house Aquarius and Uranus are all the similar vibration, the same vibration pretty much. It's often going to be something really unexpected. It might just come out of left field. It might just be something, that's completely, opposite of what you thought you want. But that it turns out to be better than anything you could have imagined, as always, like they say. All right, so we do have the Chiron is involved. So this has been in Aries for a long time. So we're in this healing mode. We're having realizations. We're wanting to take actions about, be proactive about how we were hurt and what was done. And a lot of the things that are coming out now, like the Me Too movement, the Black Lives Matter, I feel like this is big time having to do with the Chiron and Aries. It's like, well, we're not gonna be quiet about it anymore. We're not gonna be quiet about it. We're gonna speak up. Aries is not a wallflower. Aries energy is not like a wallflower at all. It's almost like the bull in the china shop, but it's the ram. Sometimes the ram, look, you're gonna look at this. You're gonna listen to me. I've been wounded and I've been hurt, and you're going to listen. So there's that going on, and that's bringing up a lot of things throughout the whole world. People are just like, no, you're going to listen. And this full moon in Aquarius could really aid in that, because it's a sextile of that, which is harmonious, vibration and aspect. Again, though, the Aquarian energy about being aware, maybe we would have not been aware. For instance, the things that are going on in Cuba right now. We might have not have been aware of this. So we're becoming aware of things, in America I'm talking about, So we're becoming aware of things not only in our society. 11th house, Aquarius energy, is, all throughout the world for everyone. And Saturn is like not going to let that stand, period. Saturn is saying, we're going to do something about this. Saturn is not going to be pushed aside and told to shut up. Saturn's like, you're going to shut up and you're going to listen to me. Saturn's the boss. Saturn's going to make that equality like a boss. That's what Saturn's going to do. But that's his long term. But this full moon is near there and illuminating this sector. So it's bringing these things, out in the open and showing us. Even though by that time, I'm actually recording this video on the 13th as the Venus and Mars conjunction is happening. And by this time of this full moon, Venus has moved on moved from Leo into Virgo. But it's still a conjunction. I mean, it's still in there at 6 degrees. So, it's still the Venus-Mars energy. So people are passionate anyway, This is very much, this big love energy too. And for those of you who are seeking romance, by going out and doing fun things, you could totally meet somebody around this time frame. Also, just this latter part of July, not even necessarily on this full moon. And people are passionate and people want to have fun. And you could just meet somebody who you really had a lot of fun with, that you're just like, boy, we just have the best time together. We have so much laughs, because Leo is always laughing. Excuse me, get a drink of water real quickly. So it's just like, a lot of times, people say, well, what attracted you? Oh, they made me laugh, That's always been a high one on my list of, one of like the top 3. They gotta have a sense of humor. They gotta be able to laugh, not take themselves too seriously. Have fun together, So yeah, that you could meet somebody that is like that, or you could meet somebody if you're single and looking during this the second half of July. Really, you can meet somebody who at one of these kind of events, at some kind of a sporting event, a concert, outdoor picnic party, celebration of some sort. These kinds of things, something having to do with children, maybe a kid's birthday party or some kind of kids, doings of some sort. You could absolutely meet somebody at an event like that. So if you're single and looking and you get invited to a kid's party and like, oh, kids party, meh, you might want to go, that's it. But fun, a lot of fun to be had. A lot of fun to be had during the second half of July. But also, we do have this this Chiron there. See, the Chiron and the nodes and everything, but they're not squaring. They're in harmonious aspects of trines and sextiles, which bring about harmonious exchange of energies. These are the times when things could, communication could happen. Resolutions can be met and reached at this time frame, I feel. Okay, we've got this Jupiter just bopping back down to that 0 degree of Pisces here. It's going to go back into Aquarius, excuse me. It's going to go back into Aquarius, but it's still right at that 0. That 0 is super powerful. Again, it's a time of beginning, and the new full moon itself is only at 1 degree, so very close. So it's this turning, this shifting, just like, the Aries ingress, the different ingress charts that I do quarterly. It's because those 0 degrees are really powerful time frames. Now, it is on the retrograde, so some would argue that maybe that's not as powerful because it's turning back retrograde. It's not, it's going backwards. Well, from our perspective, it's going backwards. So it's not as powerful, but I feel like it's just as powerful or even more powerful. But there could be an element, come to think of it, I never look at the chart ahead of time. I like to just be spontaneous and just tune in, as I would if you were getting a reading from me. I wouldn't be looking at a bunch of stuff ahead of time. We would just start it right out. So this is 0. I'm going to look when Jupiter went 0 before, because that's going to be, I'm hearing it might harken back to. Okay, guides are definitely chiming in, because harken back to is not something that I would say. So I am looking at it, and it was in the middle of May. It was actually like right around May 13th, and I'm recording this on the 13th. So June, July, 2 months ago. So just, like really May, because it was pulling in, you feel it coming and you feel it going. So what was going on back in May for some of us? Think back to that second week in May, and what was going on then? And there may be a revisiting of that, but with Jupiter, there's always going to be a blessing. So this could also be maybe even something you've been struggling with, some of you, since that time frame, since that, May, between May and now. And so when Jupiter goes back over that point and not reignites, well, it is, I want to say the word reignite, even though it's water energy, reignites that spot, that issue, that point in your chart. You may have some big awareness of what would be a better way to handle it. What would be, how could I go about it differently? you know, have some, let the higher self and the higher energies come through and come in and chime in. And even if you don't think you're psychic or this, you know, you don't do that, whatever, you're doing it all the time. Everybody is. You know, you're getting insights and aha moments. You don't have to call it by the names. You know, you don't have to put the woo-woo spin on it. But it's happening nonetheless, you know. So you can have these big aha moments. You can have these big, oh, I see what I did. I just came to me like somebody you might, if you, any of you were doing some kind of, like something like was meticulous, like writing a book or like taxes or contracts or something like that, you may, if you were doing something back there in May, you may want to go back and check that over again. You might discover something like, oh wow, I can't believe I missed that. You know, just cross the T's and dot the I's kind of a thing. That might be true for some. The Saturn Uranus is still going on, and that's what's bringing about a lot of the upheaval that we see, you know, in the world today. A lot of the protests and different things, but it's actually widening its orb a little bit, and it's not as much of a stronghold as it has been. Let me just see right here in the aspectarian if Uranus is doing anything else. No, we got Saturn trying the node, square Uranus. Mars is opposing Jupiter. Oh yeah, the Jupiter is opposing this Venus-Mars thing. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you could fall head over heels in love, for sure, with that energy, but also, there could be, that could be like an obsession, honestly. So you might want to check yourself, because, and also with Jupiter and Pisces, the Pisces energy, it's like you can imbue somebody with qualities that maybe they don't really have. You know, you might meet somebody and have a great time, or you're talking and you, oh, they're so great, and then you start, we all do it to some extent when you don't really know somebody. You start, you know, oh, it's my dream lover, whatever, you know, but I'm exaggerating, but imbuing them with qualities that they may not in actuality have, or exaggerating or over-romanticize. And it's great to romanticize. That's part of being in love, right? But you don't want to, you know, the rose-colored glasses, you know, sometimes it's a little bit, you know, it can lead to illusion, and it can lead to disappointment, you know, so just have, you know, have a reality check, have fun, but have a reality check also. I'm feeling when this water and fire earth thing, I'm feeling like people are going to be going to like Coney Island, or what's that place, that pier in LA, you know, I'm feeling like there's these like, I'm seeing like you know, that kind of a setting, what would you call it, like a carnival type of setting right by a big, large, you know, the ocean or a big, large body of water. And there's places like that all over the place. It doesn't have to be, or in Ohio, Cedar Point even, you know. So, you know, it feels like it's something like that for somebody out there, or maybe for several people. I hope there's not going to be some kind of big accident in one of those places. I hope that's not why they're showing it to me. But we were talking about love and everything when I tuned into that, so let's not go there. Let's put good vibes around those kind of places that lots of people will be meeting and falling in love, and there's not going to be any bad stuff, you know, going down. So they're showing, yeah, we have the sun is actually opposing Pluto. It's a little bit of a wide orb, and it's not in the same sign. But again, that just brings out that passion. I mean, this is a very passionate time, and you can meet somebody that you're very passionate with. Now, if you're not looking for love, if you're already in a relationship, it can just be your own relationship, you know, your ongoing long-term relationship, becoming more passionate and alive with love. My Love is Alive, I'm hearing, by Gary Wright. Yeah. My love is alive. That's way off, that's not it. I'm not finding the note, but many of you will remember that song. There was something else I wanted to say. Passionate, but the passion isn't always about sex and love and romance either. Maybe there's something you're going to find you're passionate about, your life's purpose. Maybe you're going to be passionate about, it could still involve another person, but maybe it's not a romantic level. Maybe you found somebody who's, you know, maybe you're, I'm just looking over at my plant over here, maybe you're big time into plant, like you're a plant freak, and you find somebody else who's an avid, you know, gardener and plant person, and you have, you know, there's this shared passion. It doesn't have to be about necessarily sexual or romantic, you know, we have shared passions with a lot of people, and, you know, many times our partner doesn't share every single one of our shared passions, so we have to, you know, We have other people that we talk to and do things with, whatever, golfing or different things like that. That could absolutely be happening now too. Well, it's funny that I believe that are the Olympics starting that day? Is it that day that they're starting? I think the Olympics are even starting that day. It's interesting that they're starting on a full moon, but it's cool because of that Leo energy. I'm just quickly, without changing this screen, I'll just pull it up on my phone real quick. Summer Olympics. Summer Olympics 2021. Start. Yeah, July 23rd. Okay, I didn't realize I had her turned on. Yeah, yeah, that's the day that the Olympics start. I had no idea. I just popped into my head. Yeah, so that's really cool with that. That's that Leo, and then talk about passion. Talk about passion, because these Olympic athletes absolutely have to be passionate to, you know, endure and go through everything that they do. But also, it's all the sports and games and fun and everything. That's the, you know, the summer games, Leo, you know. And then the Aquarian energy, you know, that's the group, the larger group that we belong to. It's cool on a couple levels as far as the, I wonder if they consult astrologers, you know. Because it's cool on a couple levels, because it's cool because it's the whole world, you know, it's the whole world coming together to celebrate athleticism, you know, and compete in, you know, in competition that has integrity and all that kind of stuff. But it's also the group of, you know, your country, or the, you know, the region or the country that you're representing too. So that's really cool, like that too. So that's really interesting. I imagine that's going to be 10:37 p.m. That'll be the opening ceremonies. How can I do this without having her talk to me? I haven't got into this phone that deep yet here. Summer Olympics 2021 opening ceremony time, Eastern. Oh, it's 7 a.m. Okay, so it's earlier. This is going to be at 10:30 at night. So it's like, you know, a long time later. So like 10 hours later, or 12, 15 hours later, or something like that. But still, that energy is going to be present. You know, that's going to be very much illuminating the whole thing there. That's pretty cool that that's happening at this time. Okay, so what else? I'm going to quickly just look at the aspectarian, see if there's any other thing that I missed here. Mercury trine Neptune. That's kind of been going on. You know, that's a nice flow. You know, that's a nice flow between, in the sign of Pisces, Neptune and Pisces, and Mercury in Cancer. It's like really a good time to really get in touch with our feelings, express our feelings, if not directly to another person necessarily. Maybe you don't want to if it's like a long-standing wound or hurt, you don't want to, maybe if you can't do it to the other person, or you're not ready to do that, it's good for like journaling and writing it out. And I also noticed that the Mercury is opposing to Pluto, so this could really bring about some very powerful emotions, and with Pluto being involved, it could be very cathartic. It could be a very powerful time for releasing, as well as all full moons are. And the Pluto is in there in conjunction. Mercury, getting clear about our thoughts, getting clear about our mind, purging our mental anxiety, speaking our truth, and you know, speaking out about, getting clear in our mind about what's going on, you know. And because sometimes with this too, with all this passion and the Pluto, we can just blow things out of proportion. And that's what's great about the Aquarian energy as well. Because sometimes we just got to take a couple steps back, you know. Especially when we're just, you know, pounding away, like I was saying, or running your monkey mind. You know, we got to take a step back. We got to look, you know, get out of there and just see, you know, what, look at things from a higher perspective. And that's a great thing to do on the Aquarian full moon. You know, step back, ask your higher self, you know, allow me to see things from a higher perspective. And even if you don't do any kind of channeling or whatever else, just ask for a dream. You know, everybody can ask for a dream. And even if you don't get a direct answer in your dream, often you'll just wake up and feel better and just know what to do. You know, you just have oh, I know what to do now. All right, everybody. So thanks so much for tuning in. I do have readings available on my website. You can check that out if you're interested in getting a reading from me. I have books, decks that I've created, artwork. I'm going to be selling prints of some of my fine artwork, but I have some other art that's on these really cool journals. So if you feel like it, please do check out the site. I really do appreciate all those who do, and I really appreciate everybody who does do everything else that doesn't cost anything, like subscribing and liking and sharing. Those all go towards helping that YouTube algorithm, that all-important YouTube algorithm, to get the videos out there and seen by as many people as possible. I thank you all so much for all the people who have been helping me all along, and those of you who are new, if you hit that subscribe button, I really would appreciate it. Remember that you are love and beauty incarnate. Have the best full moon and second half of July, really, ever, of July of 2021, and I'll speak to you again soon.